Hi, everybody. It's Liz here. I have a little story to share with you. I had the opportunity to go on a Independence Day cruise on the JFK. I don't know if you've seen my pictures on Facebook. I was going through some totes over the weekend and found a whole bunch of pictures that I had taken. And I got to tell you, that was probably the most exhilarating day of my entire life. My neighbors were on the JFK, and Mike came over to me one morning and said to me, Liz, get the kids, take them over to Stacy's, which Stacy was his wife. Take them to Stacy's and you're coming with us. And I said, well, where? And they said, you're coming with us. And I said, well, I need to know where we're going. And he said, you're going to love it and you're going to jump up and down. So I can't tell you right now. So he and I argued for a bit and he finally said, all right, fine. We're taking you with us on the Independence Day cruise on the JFK. And he was right. And Mike was, I think if I remember, he was like 6'8". I literally jumped up into his arms, hugged him, smooched him, grabbed his wife Stacy, hugged her, kissed her, and said, you're kidding me. Why are you not going? Well, Stacy was pregnant at the time. And she said, Liz, you go. You go in my spot. You're the big airplane nut. You go. So I got to go with those guys on the JFK. Now, as all of you know, I'm not afraid to talk to people. Well, maybe I'm a little sometimes, but when we got on the JFK, both guys looked at me and said, this is where we're going to take off and land, and we want to get you right in show front center. I mean, right dead center. So I literally was right where the tail hook, as you can see in the picture, hooks the plane and the catapult takes it off. The catapult was just to my left. And when we got up there, there was some gentlemen standing there, and they were all vets. They all had all of their garb on and all of their pins all over their hats and, and everything. And I went up to one of the gentlemen who was a very tall man, and I shook him on his sleeve. I grabbed his sleeve like a little kid, and I shook him on his sleeve, and I said, sir, would you mind if I stood in front of you? Because the line had already kind of gotten filled where everyone was going to be standing watching the airplanes. And he looked down at me and I said, I promise you, you will never know that I was here. And he said, sure, of course, you can stand here and with us. So I stood in front of these gentlemen who were longtime military guys and talked their ear off. Of course, as you know, I talked their ear off. But they took off and landed off the ship. They showed us what a search and rescue was like. They talked a lot about, just being on the ship. What the guys would do. It just was amazing. It was just amazing. And cool thing is the stealth flew over us and broke the sound barrier as well. One of the guys that was on the ship that I knew, he came running over to me and he said, Liz, cover your ears. And before I could say what, he grabbed my hands and covers my ears, and woof, there goes the stealth. It was amazing. It was just amazing, and one of the reasons why I wanted to share this story with you is this is part of my life, right? As all of you know, I decided to quit drinking, and it'll be 3 years in July that I quit drinking. And in thinking about the things, why I drank, all of that kind of stuff, I always have to remind myself that all of my life wasn't, it wasn't worth drinking for. Like instances like this, going on the JFK and going on the Independence Day cruise. I've had so many cool things that have happened in my life, along with some of the bad and some of the the things that I don't never really want to talk about, as we all have. But being home alone during this whole thing, has made me slow down. It has made me look at things in a completely different way. In sobriety, we go through the 4-step and we write down all these things that, hurt us and who we've hurt. And it brings up all of these things, these stories in our head of what's happened, right? That doesn't define us. That doesn't make who we are today. That just is something. It's a piece of our world that we went through. It's a piece of, who makes us be who we are today. And no matter what that is for anyone, I feel that it still makes us be who we are today, no matter if it's good, bad, indifferent, whatever. And sharing this story about my little excursion on the JFK reminds me of all the wonderful things that I did have in my life and all the learning experiences. I mean, that was such a huge learning experience. I got to go below deck and see how the arresting gear worked and see how the catapult worked and watch these planes take off and land and talk about the speed and the sound. It was so exhilarating, as you can tell. I get very excited when I talk about airplanes and being on that deck, the rumble, the power that this airplane had while it took off from the JFK. I think about the power that we have inside us, the power for us to heal, the power that we have to go through anything. And we're going to get through this. We have the power to get through this too. And I challenge you all to use that power. Use the power that you have inside to get through all of this. And use the power not to think about the bad. And, Brian said to me today, because I was getting in my head, Brian said to me today, do I need a key for your head? And do I need to hold the key? And I'm only the one that's going to allow you in your head. I thought that was awesome. That was just an amazingly awesome thing to say. So with that, I will stop. I love you all. Have a wonderful day. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep sending out little videos. And I hope that you get something from it. I hope that this helps you heal, gives you some positiveness for the day. And I love you all. Have a great afternoon. Mwah. Bye. See you later.